.9600HP, as this car is universally known, is the oldest E-Type in existence, having been built in 1960 as a prototype. It actually had three distinct roles in its early life in 1960-61. It was development car, press car, and then launch press car. So firstly, in its role as a development car, it was used very extensively by Norman Dewis, Jaguar's legendary chief tester since 1952. He drove it a great deal at Mara, the proving grounds there. Then it was lent in great secret to selected journalists and publications for them to be able to write their articles, so when the car was launched, they were ready to with their publicity and their features. Because the E-Type was radically different and radically new at that stage. Just before launch, it was lent to the Autocar, who took it to Belgium to do a full-scale road test. And they were working hard to get to the magic 150, because the E-Type wouldn't actually quite do that. And the publicity had been already printed. It was going to be marketed as a 150 mile an hour car. And that was a pretty exciting speed in those days, because the average saloon car would really do no more than, say, 70 or 80, 90 at very best. So 150 miles an hour was exciting and radical, and that was racing car performance. So they inched it higher and higher, flat on the floor, car getting hotter and hotter, and finally, they just managed to do it by a fraction. The average was 150.1 or 2 or whatever it was. Bob Berry, who was the Jaguar PR manager, he was selected to drive the car out to Geneva, but there were last-minute delays. Things like the tailgate kept springing open. So when he left early evening, having to be in Geneva for the press launch just before the Geneva Motor Show, he had to be there by midday next day. He drove down the M1, through London, down to Dover, and then over in France. He had fog around Reims, so it was an epic journey. And he told me that he drove it like a race. And Bob was a very successful driver in the 50s. He'd raced D-types and was a very quick guy. Could have had a good career in motor racing. Maximum revs in every gear, between every corner. He couldn't go through Switzerland because passes were closed due to snow. He had to go the long way around, what was known as the milk run. So he came across endless lorries. He was using every inch of the performance through the gears, overtaking all these lorries. Finally, he made it to Geneva with 20 minutes to spare at the local dealership. The guys sprung onto it, cleaned it up, and it got to the Parc des Eaux Vives, where the car was to be unveiled. So it was launched, and it was in the papers because of these articles beforehand, all the newspapers next day, around the world, and in the next issue of various magazines. And that basically was the launch of the E-Type. Unique features of 9600HP include the fact that it has an aluminium tailgate, the rear window is Perspex, the rear quarter lights are also Perspex. Whether or not this was for lighting purposes for the road tests, we don't really know. It's likely they were just pre-production development features. The early E-Types had separate louver panels, spot welded in. Later, Abbey Panels, who built the bonnets, developed the tooling to press them all in one piece. And then, very distinctively at the front, we have a couple of changes from normal, standard E-Type. You may have noticed there are no overriders. These were taken off, we reckon, for the road tests because they were worth at that sort of speed, 150, they were worth 2 or 3 miles an hour. So it all helped to achieve the magic figure, probably for similar reasons. The motif bar, as the badge bar is known, that normally resides in the mouth, the distinctive mouth of the E-Type, that's missing as well, probably for the same reasons. So the heart of the E-Type, the wonderful XK engine, which of course had been launched in the XK120 in 1948, was then fitted in the ultimate form of the XK, the XK150S. The S version 38S had this engine. 3 carburetors is the distinctive feature, and on the 3/8s the head is painted old gold, as it's called. Otherwise, features on this car that are a little bit different. We can still see this car was built originally as left-hand drive car and then converted by Jaguar during 1961. We've still got parts of the old throttle linkage left on here from the days when it was left-hand drive. There are little blocks of wood on the side. Here the famous chassis plate with the distinctive numbers denoting that it is indeed the second left-hand drive fixed head to be built. So there we are. It's the engine that sits in subframe. The construction of the E-Type is monocoque up to here, just like the D-Type, and then it has front frames, square tubular front frames, which carry the engine, radiator, cooling system, etc. And of course, front suspension and steering. It's interesting to remember that Sir William, when he gave his design engineers a brief, when the engine was being designed during the war, famously during fire watching, he arranged so that his key engineers, Claude Bailey, Wally Hassan and Bill Haynes, would be fire watching together. And they came up with the concept of the engine. But Sir William stated that it had to be a glamorous looking engine, like the Bugatti pre-war, a work of art. And so these beautiful polished cam covers do indeed fit the bill. It is indeed a work of art, a work of sculpture.